Now when it comes to Drake, when Kendrick Lamar told us it was going to be a long year for Drake, I don't think any of us realized how much of a joke Drake was going to become, as even after the Grammys and the Super Bowl where Drake got humiliated more than he ever has. Now at the Oscars of all events, Drake got dissed here again, and now after being the joke of a major cultural event that Kendrick Lamar had nothing to do with this time, Drake, OVO, and everyone around him are in absolute shambles over this and are really spiraling more than we have ever seen. But now before we go any further into all of this, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It helps me out a ton, and as the Drake fans are livid about the loss their favorite rapper took in a rap beef going this far, be sure to leave that like so everyone can hear just how bad Drake and every single person around him are reacting to this. And so with that said, with this latest moment for Drake, it is truly wild that the influence and effects of a lyrical back and forth are now taking center stage in an event that is all about the film industry, as at the Oscars, during about the halfway mark of the show, Conan O'Brien, who was hosting, unleashed a joke where he said, "Well, we're halfway through this show, which means it's time for Kendrick Lamar to come out and call Drake a P-word," and yes, Conan said the entire word on the full broadcast. And adding to this, then Conan followed it up saying, "Don't worry, I am lawyered up," which really made this thing even funnier. And with Conan saying this for millions of people that were tuned in to hear, while when Conan and the writers made this joke, they most likely thought they were just playing into one of the biggest pop culture phenomenons we have seen in so long, and by doing that they were only gonna get some laughs. Little did they know that they were about to cause the latest case of crash outs, wild theories, and overall, more spiraling than you could ever imagine from Drake's side of things in hip-hop, because really, with the surprise of Drake catching a diss from Conan at the Oscars of all places, everyone near rap's biggest losing crew is running around with the most ridiculous theories that we have ever seen. And of course with Drake, as he just added the Super Bowl halftime show and what Kendrick Lamar did, and how many people saw that chew his current suit to try and expand this wild theory he is trying to convince everyone of all over his loss in a rap beef, it is inevitable that we will soon see another addition to the most ridiculous piece of paperwork we have ever seen from a rapper, where Drake will once again say that him being at the center of a joke at the Oscars is another major moment in this plot that the industry has made to ruin his reputation and put his career in a place where it has never been worse off. And now while there is a lot more to discuss about just how ridiculous Team Drake has been getting with why they think this joke was said and what it is trying to accomplish, I mean, let's just be real here, and I know for Drake fans this is hard because they are not just in delusion with hip-hop culture, but they don't seem to understand the fundamental conventions of how anything works, but putting things in perspective. With these award shows in general, and especially with the Oscars, with how much pressure falls on the hosts, especially in this moment because the job has seemingly gone harder and harder to do decently, and without any all-time embarrassing moments, the Oscars are not picking on Drake here because they were told by his label and because they are trying to ruin his legacy in this super thought-out and connected way. But just like a lot of the jokes, and especially the ones that garner attention at all of these award shows, Conan, the Oscars, and its writers decided to get last by mentioning a current cultural event that is on everybody's mind and that everyone understands. It's as simple as that. And if Drake fans don't believe this, just look at all of the other jokes that have been said not just at the Oscars, but at the Grammys or the Golden Globes. This is how hosts are able to get entire rooms of people to laugh, which ultimately is just by talking about something that the entire room should have at least a basic premise of, as it is of course a major moment that's happening right now. And even with this said, while Drake and the people around him are already coming out with narratives that this was all so much bigger and that there has never been a clearer signal that they are trying to end Drake's career and image like we have never seen, and of course they are dragging this out by saying that Conan used a certain word to refer to Drake. I mean, ultimately, and with the way the joke closed, which had Conan referencing Drake's suit, which they are all ignoring entirely, what is really being shown here is not just that the Super Bowl was one of the biggest cultural moments we have had in so long, and that the stage Kendrick Lamar has taken hip-hop to has never been bigger, but also that even outside of the hip-hop world and the rules of rap beef, people everywhere are now looking at the Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef and are seeing that after the diss tracks they released and the success of Kendrick's, that Drake is going after the song that won the beef with an entire suit, and just on the premise of that, it really does not take a hip-hop fan to think that's absolutely ridiculous. And just as we see in Conan's joke more than ever, the entire entertainment industry thinks it's an absolute joke that Drake has taken the loss he took in a rap beef to such far measures. And overall now everybody is just clearly clowning him for it because it's ridiculous. And from the Super Bowl and Kendrick's performance where he created a whole bit of the story there around Drake's suit and him going after Not Like Us, to this joke here which is a response to that. Overall, what Drake should be learning is that it's not the impact of Not Like Us in the hip-hop community alone that has got the record this far and has made it this relevant still, but is his own spiral out of control that has turned this record into one of the biggest songs we have ever seen, not just in hip-hop, but really in all of culture in so long, because ultimately if Drake just took his loss and moved on with his career after Not Like Us dropped, to this extent where now the major entertainment industries and award shows are making fun of him, nobody would be clowning him, and a joke like this would not even be able to work because it relies on the fact that Drake is the first rapper who decided to bring the loss he took on the mic into matters like we have never seen. Overall, while Drake's team are gonna try and cite this as something which is showing the impact of Not Like Us and how it's ruined his image, which is a core that they are trying to convince everyone of, when you understand the full context of this joke and that this level of backlash that Drake is getting is not just because of the song, but it's really because of the reaction he had to the song, which is just so different, and ultimately, this is what's gonna make Drake just get laughed at when he tries to present reasons to why this song has made the place he is in his career get so bad, because with a moment like this, it perfectly puts into perspective that Drake's own bad choices have been the thing that has ruined his image, and really, I think beyond whatever odd theories we are gonna continue to hear about this from Team Drake, as Drake is trying to change the entire way rappers can express themselves, as overall he is trying to reinterpret the creative way rappers are using wordplay and lyrics and expression to try and prove the ridiculous points he is making about Not Like Us. I think for people who are now in the know about this, a lot of entertainers in all fields see this as a blatant disrespect to the arts in general, and they don't just not respect Drake, they want to make sure that ideas like his do not ruin the ability for people in general to express whatever thoughts they are feeling or whatever they are trying to say within the art they are making. And I mean with Conan especially. He was a writer on The Simpsons and SNL, which were of course platforms that made jokes and talks about people in a way that the person may not have always liked, but ultimately that is allowed. As over everything, being able to make jokes like the one Conan did at the Oscars has always been a part of this industry, and even when it comes to the whole controversy between Andrew Schultz and his awful response to Kendrick Lamar when he said some very off-putting things in response to Kendrick's diss on whacked out murals, the Drake fans didn't seem to care at all there when Kendrick was at the center of that joke, but now of course they are so upset because this is about Drake. And so going back to this rule of being able to express yourself in your art and everybody knowing this, I mean until Drake came in, this has always been the standard in everything. And of course looking at this, the rap beef, that has always been a rule in it until now with Drake. And so really even with the context of that, I do think in a way that the entire entertainment industry is pushing back on what Drake is doing, because if he can do something like this over a diss record and beef where he didn't just say horrible things to Kendrick Lamar himself, but he fully understood what could happen by getting into this. Overall, it creates a scary standard for the future of how rappers, writers, and any other comic or person who is trying to say anything in their art may be able to speak. And when you look at this joke like that, well, Drake is gonna miss the point on purpose to try and prove his point, and everyone around him is gonna as well, so they can keep trying to create this image that he is a victim. At this point, beyond hip-hop and a rap beef, what's clear is that Drake has made more people angry than you could ever imagine, because it's not just about a beef or how Drake feels in a single isolated moment now, but with what he is doing, it goes against the way everybody has been able to approach the way they express themselves in art and creative mediums in whatever they do. And really with Drake, this is the bigger picture of it all and why this entire moment is so pivotal for everything. And really, no matter how you look at this, with the fact that this beef has reached a place where it's one of, if not the most talked about part of an award show from an entire other industry. Overall, it just shows that between Kendrick's victories and Drake's losses, hip-hop has reached the pinnacle of everything right now, and more than ever, there are so many people engaged in what's going on in the genre, and between these two rappers specifically, that is just pushing everything forward, whether that's the loss of respect that people have for Drake, or the appreciation of Kendrick Lamar's music and what he is doing. And so overall, while Drake and everyone around him are livid at the Oscars, and I am sure we are going to see them do a lot more with this moment to try and drag it out and make it seem like this bigger and more ridiculous thing. Really, this moment is highlighting just how significant this entire rap beef has been on everything. It is also showing that beyond rap, everyone is just done with Drake because more than anything else, his choices have disrespected the entire entertainment world as a whole. And because of this, it's not just his loss in a rap beef that people are mad at and will laugh at him for a long time to come, but it's really just so much bigger than that at this point, because what Drake is doing is trying to ruin the very way everybody has been able to create and tell stories through as a whole. And so now with all that said, let me know, what do you think about this moment, what the reaction from Team Drake has been, and did you think this joke was funny, or were you just surprised to see hip-hop and Drake's L and Kendrick's wins reach this far of a place? Now, I can't wait to hear what you have to say, and now if you made it to this point in the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It helps me out a ton. And now if you want to see how in this time, right before this moment, Drake got so bored with rapping and his failing tour that it made him reach a worse point than we have ever seen, and it really looks bad for him there, check out the suggested video.